So here in the city from the city pack, there is this really cool fashion district sort of place. And there is also this really cool penthouse lot. And I've been thinking for a while now what to make here. And I definitely knew that I wanted to make something related to fashion. Because like I said, this is meant to be like a fashion district kind of place. And that is one thing that I actually think is such a huge missed opportunity about the city here from this pack, is that you have like an art district and a fashion district. And to be fair, with the art district, I think there's like easels around and there's like a whole art, not museum, but kind of whatever that place is. But here with the fashion district, there is like nothing fashion going on. And so yeah, I wanted to make something that kind of relates to that in some way. And so what I decided to build finally is a mall. And so I think you can already picture it, but my Loa is supposed to be like that. All of the cool kids come here to buy all of their cool clothes and whatnot. And yeah, since this is also the save file where I'm trying to make everything super compatible with everybody's game, I'm only using City Living and Get to Work for this. And so technically this will be like one business, but I'll just make it look like there are several of them in here. And this was so much fun to build. I mean, also kind of not fun to build, because I had a look at different malls on Pinterest, and I immediately noticed how all of them have like this, you know, modern design. I'm sure you've seen a mall before. But also I noticed how all of them have like these really rounded and quite dynamic shapes to them. And I was like, okay, I gotta go for something like that then. And with anything rounded in The Sims, I mean, if you know the struggle, you know the struggle. But it's so bad. All of the rounded pieces are kind of weird to place and to move, and they're all really quite glitchy. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I think there was several times where I like broke stuff and I had to like reconstruct everything and do like the weirdest stuff to get it to work. Probably best tip I can give for Sims building if you're just starting out is just hands off any of the rounded stuff. And honestly, not even if you're like a beginner, just if you're anybody, if you want to build anything in The Sims, just don't touch that stuff. But yeah, I knew I kind of had to go for something like that because like I said, I noticed that in so many of the pictures, and also because this is actually version 2.0. Before all of this, I actually had a go already and I didn't really like it. And I even got decently far as well, but I was just kind of like, I don't know, my first version was kind of boring, and there, I didn't have any rounded bits at all. And to be fair, I think the main problem that I had with it was that it was pretty much just like a long hallway, sort of. So I do think you could build a pretty cool mall without any rounded bits if you just made it more interesting in other ways. But also, I do think with this place, the fact there are so many rounded bits just really helps to make this place seem even cooler. Especially if you know a thing or two about Sims building and you know what a struggle these are. So I guess, let me maybe rephrase my tip from earlier. You can use rounded bits sometimes if you feel like you need them and if you feel like you are emotionally prepared. And when I say emotionally prepared, I mean it, because I feel like I'm a pretty patient person and I don't really get frustrated easily. But with this, there were times where I was really like, I don't know, I didn't feel like giving up, but I just felt really angry at the game. It was fine though, in the end, it was fine. And it was maybe worth it. I honestly don't really know. Yeah, is now a good time to mention that there may or may not be a plot twist coming in the end? Yeah, stay tuned for the plot twist. Yippee. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Right now we are still in the happy days when I was just building away, having a go at it. And you've already seen me putting in some of my favorite bits, which was first of all this little open section back there with the stairs. In my mind, I was kind of like, in reality, there would probably be escalators right there. And so I kind of wanted to make them look like that, except I don't think we really have any good methods of faking them in The Sims. So, I don't know, use your imagination. And then also there are these like circular holes in the floor. And as you can see, right now I'm putting in some plants on the first level. And I'm kind of making it so that they reach up through the holes into that second level. And I just think that's the coolest thing ever. And then in just a second, you'll also see me place some glass roofs up on the ceiling. And I think the fact that there is one on top of like the biggest hole there is just so cool. And then I also placed one on top of the open section as well. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. I think I mentioned this before when I built the school, because there are also like a big skylight. But every time you have something like this where there's just like lighting coming in through the ceiling, I don't know, it instantly makes me like the lot so much more. I just think that's so cool. I also showed off what that looks like from the tab mode view. So this right here would be a Sims POV, I guess. And you can really see it in here, but I think if I were to build this whole thing again, one thing, and maybe the only thing that I would do differently, is I used, I think, medium wall height on both levels for this, but I think I would go for tall wall height instead, because I don't know, does it look a little bit like the ceiling's a little too low? Maybe I'm just nitpicking though, and I feel like you don't really notice that at all when you're just playing normally in the normal view, and that's always the main thing that looks good in that view. But yeah, tall wall height would have been probably the most obvious correct decision to go for, but I'm always a bit reluctant to use the taller wall heights. Like, I always go for the short one. I just feel like whenever I go for a taller height, I just have such problems to fill the wall because there's just that much wall, and if you like sticker painting or something on it, there is still so much space left. It's so funny to me. I remember building stuff in The Sims 3, and to be fair, all of my opinions about The Sims 3 are a bit, I don't know, I feel like you have to take them with a grain of salt because I was a little kid. But I remember always being like, all of the walls are so small, because we only had one height and it was basically the short one from The Sims 4. And I was like, what if I want to build like a grand hall or something like that? It sucks, I have to like stack 2 rooms on top of one another. And then they add something like wall height in The Sims 4 and I'm just like, meh, I'm not using it. Anyway, the shell is pretty much done and now we're moving on to the interior. So I made like a little plan. Back here, I want to build the bathroom first of all, and then right next to it, I plan to make a little bakery sort of shop. Right next to that, I have 2 mannequins already lined up for some clothing shop. In here, I want to build a photo studio, and then right next door, I plan to make like a furniture shop. And right across from that, we have another clothing store, and right next to that, we have another clothing store. And then this last little booth I want to make into a toy store. And then out front there is also this like desk out here, which I want to turn into like an info desk. And this is also where I want to put the cash register that you need to meet the lot requirements. And as for the area downstairs, which I actually worked in first, and as you just saw, I put in a new path. And then you'll also see me put in some plants down here some more. But as you can tell, all of the stores are going to be upstairs. And then down here, I made like, I don't know, I kind of thought of it like an indoor park. And I decided to make it like that because whenever I build in The Sims, I also really care about like the gameplay on the lots that I make and how Sims will autonomously behave on them and stuff like that. And with this, I'm not sure if I was successful, but I had this problem of like in real life, this would probably be like such a crowded place. But then in The Sims, the game only spawns so many people. And so I wanted to make this feel like it was crowded, while you would probably obviously only have like, I don't know, a maximum of like 20 people around probably. I've actually never counted, but it's not a whole lot of Sims that spawns, is it? And so my hopes were that all of the Sims were going to hang around upstairs and was going to be super crowded up there, and that the downstairs area would kind of be more chill and there would be less going on. Although I'm not sure if it actually works like that, because to be fair, I also placed a lot of stuff to do downstairs, and so it might be 50-50 on both floors. I think that's okay though, like I think with this one it's not that serious. And yeah, here we have a little jump ahead to where I already placed in some of those activities that I mentioned, because I didn't want the video to be like hours long. But here I'm building a little restaurant out here. I mean, restaurant in quotation marks. It's a get to work only restaurant where you just basically buy one serving of food in one of those like food displays. And this was actually one of the things that I built in my original build, like the first try that I had that I didn't like. But I really liked this design of this quote-unquote restaurant, and so I decided to bring it along to this version. And so I basically just saved it as like a crappy little room to my gallery, and then I brought it here and made it fit with my new build. And in between the last clip and then the jump to this one, I also built like a whole little kids area. I don't think I'm really showing it off properly in like the build process here, but don't worry, we're going to do like a proper tour in the end where I will show you everything in detail again. But yeah, the idea with this was obviously that if you come here with your Sims kids, you can like drop them off in the kids area and then go shopping in peace. That's a little mean, I know, but I don't care. But the kids area is so cool. I have like very fond memories of going to like IKEA and whatnot and staying in the kids areas. I feel like now that I'm an adult, I'm not making enough of an effort to be sad about the fact that I can never go in one of those kids areas again. Like one day, I must have been in one of those for the very last time and I didn't even realize. Though to be fair, is that even like an experience that kids get these days? Because I feel like a lot of the kids areas in the stores here kind of closed down at some point. I don't know if it was IKEA again, but I was in some sort of furniture store and there was like a kids area in there that I remember going to. But it was not a thing anymore. Like, instead of the kids area, they like repurposed the space and instead had like, I think it was just displays of the furniture that they're selling. And I remember just being like, what happened? But yeah, so I'm very glad that I decided to make one in here because it's like very fond memories. So I guess if kids don't get to get them today, at least our kids in The Sims get to still have them. To be fair, they might not actually be mass closing down or anything. I just tried to Google for it and I can't find anybody crying out about this. So maybe I just saw one of them close and I was overly dramatic about it. Like, oh no, it's so over. Either way, next up, you'll see me build one of my other favorite areas in here. I honestly can't decide what I find coolest about this, but this definitely has to be in the top 3 because originally I had like these sets of tables right next to the stairs, right? But I decided to move them outside because I think I had a way cooler idea for this area, which is to make a teeny tiny little pond. So like I said, this is kind of really like an indoor park sort of. But to make this, I did use an actual pool that your Sims could technically swim in. Because I think originally I tried to place like the fountains, but the game wouldn't let me on here on the penthouse lot. But for some reason, a pool was completely fine. That does not make a whole lot of sense, but anyway, moving on, I guess. Yeah, like I said, your Sims could technically swim in that, but I didn't want them to because, I don't know, it doesn't fit with the whole mall that we're trying to build. And also, most importantly, again, relating to how I care about the gameplay and how Sims behave on my lots, I didn't want all of the Sims to walk around in their bathing suits. And you just know if I place down even just a small pool down here, all of the Sims would at some point jump in there and then just start walking around in their bathing suits. And I kind of made the quote-unquote mistake that I placed swimmable pools in my Magic Realm renovation. And it wasn't so bad, but there I had a lot of Sims also then walk around in their bathing suits in the end. And I was like, maybe next time pay more attention to that. So this time I did, and I blocked off the pool with all sorts of stuff so your Sims will not go in and swim in there and then they won't be walking around in the wrong clothes. But yeah, in just a second you'll see a little transition to when this downstairs area, this indoor park sort of thing, was all done. And here it is. I think it looks so cool. And I really like how it seems really like lush and overgrown. And I think the pond there just adds so much that we just added. And here's just kind of like a quick overview. Obviously, like I said, I'm doing like a proper tour of everything in the end as well. And that is actually coming up a lot sooner than you might think, because we are on the home stretch now, because now it's just the upstairs that is left. And so I kind of made my way around. I started at the bakery and then I ended all the way at the last shop, which was the toy shop originally, but fun fact, I actually changed my mind last minute and turned it into a plant shop. And can I be so honest? I know I just call it like the home stretch, like, oh my gosh, we're almost done. So you'd think in real life this didn't take that long, and I mean, in the game it didn't, but in like real life there were like really long breaks in between there. It took me like months to complete this in the end. That sounds kind of wild, but sometimes, you know, the semester just starts and then you have like a bajillion million group projects, and then you basically have no life besides that for a couple of months. And I'm actually still not out. I still have like so much to do. Like, I probably should not be here, but that's also why the video is kind of a bit bare bones. I do think on one hand I may be entering like my chill video era. I think I myself used to watch a lot of videos that were like super duper hyper edited, but now I'm kind of into videos that have less of that and that are quieter. And I do think I can kind of see like the stuff that I watch myself on YouTube sort of reflect in the stuff that I then make in my own videos. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, but the other hand is that I also have lots of stuff to do. By the way, do we like this? Like, this might be a bit late to ask, but this is sped up times 6. And also, previously, I exported all of my stuff in 25 FPS. But this is 60, and I think that might help with, well, first of all, hopefully not making you dizzy. Did it work? Did it not work? I don't know. I'm nervous. I hope the extra frames will not mean that this will take like a million years to export, but it probably will. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not. And then also, I never like know with YouTube's compression and all of that. So I'm watching this back in 60 FPS now, but did the 60 FPS actually arrive at your place? Who knows? We'll see. Maybe they got lost somewhere along the way. But anyway, right now I'm building the next store, which was another clothing store, and I actually, more specifically, decided to turn this into like a wedding dress shop. Except it's kind of like the most boring wedding store there ever was, because there are only 2 options and it's only 1 dress and only 1 suit. But hey, I made it look fancy, okay, I did my best. The problem is with the get to work mannequins, you can only have up to 10 mannequins on each lot. And so you have to use them sparingly, and so unfortunately I couldn't add like a bajillion more dresses in here. Also, that makes the store even more boring, is the fact that you can't even choose between them. Like, when it comes to the mannequins, you can really tell like Get to Work is a really old pack, because the mannequins are really strangely gendered. Like, if you, for example, play with a male sim, you can't wear any of the stuff from the feminine mannequins, and so on and so forth, which is really quite unfair. I would have expected them to update this at some point, but honestly, I also would have not expected them to update this at some point, because they kind of seem to forget about packs once they're released, don't they? Oh, and I just remembered about what I was talking about before, about how this video took so long, and this build especially took so long to make. Another huge reason was that, do you know how a lot of people kind of go through phases with The Sims, and there's like weeks where they'll play a lot and they'll only play The Sims and nothing else, and then there's also like weeks and weeks that go by where they just don't want to touch the game at all. I'm definitely one of those people as well, and I definitely had like a phase where I didn't want to play The Sims at all, somewhere in between there as well. And honestly, I still don't feel like I'm fully back, but to be fair, like I said, I also have a bajillion million things to do. I was kind of in my Infinity Nikki era in between there. I even made a video about that as well, that's how you know I was obsessed with that. But now I'm also kind of out of that era as well. I don't know, I kinda don't feel like playing games. But that's okay, I'm sure I'll get back into it. Anyway, here I've completed the photo studio, and here's a quick little look of what it turned out. I basically just made it quite dark and quite modern, and I honestly didn't put too much stuff in here. But one of my favorite details is this photo wall over here. This is a bunch of Sims that I made for the save file already, and I also, of course, put a picture of Jerry as well. I could not contain myself from putting him on there as well, and look at him just being a supermodel. And then next up, I took care of the furniture store, which I'm just quickly gonna jump over, so get ready for it. There it is, that's what it turned out. And as you can see, I just spammed a bunch of different furniture pieces. And I just think the whole idea is so cute of like living in San Myshuno with your sim and then having them go to the mall and they can like pick out a new piece for your apartment. But yeah, I did test this and all of the stuff, even like on the walls back there, should hopefully be accessible. There is a chance that they can't reach some of the stuff, but I'm hoping not. But then right after that, I took care of the next store, which is right across and which is another clothing store. And for this one, I didn't really have a specific theme. I did turn the first one into like a wedding shop, as you just saw. And then the other one is more so like fancy and expensive clothing you're going to see in just a sec. But then this one is just kind of clothes. This one is just kind of regular, boring clothes. And one of my favorite details about this, you'll see me build it here, are these dressing rooms. And your Sims can even walk into them. They'll just walk straight through. It doesn't look very realistic. They'll just clip through them, but they can still enter them. But then here's a look of how that turned out in the end. So again, not really a specific theme, it's kind of boring. I basically just spammed a bunch of mirrors back here. Also, you can have a look at the outfits that I picked. Again, no specific theme, just kind of boring, regular clothes. I don't really know what else to add here. But the dressing rooms are super cool. And I even placed like little mirrors in there as well. And yeah, then I moved on to the next door. the next store next door. And like I already said, this one is like the fancy clothing shop where you can get the really expensive clothes, except there is no actual way in Get to Work to say like, oh, I want these clothes and these mannequins to be like more expensive than the others, so they'll just cost the exact same, but shh, just, you know, pretend. Use your imagination. And as you can already tell, I totally have like a black and gold theme going on here, and I just think that's so cool. And I'm definitely thinking that maybe we could add store owners for perhaps all of these in my save file. But I'm mostly interested with this shop because I think it could be really cool to have like a fancy pants fashion designer sort of person living here also in this fashion district area of the city, and to also give them this like black and gold theme with their clothes as well as their whole apartment. That sounds so fun. That's definitely going on my to-do list for the save file. Oh, and maybe I should explain that when I say store owners for all of these stores that are in here, that's not actually possible with like Get to Work or anything. It would be a, you know, a whole deal where we would have to use our imagination again. But anyway, I moved on to the next door again. And like I already said, this is originally going to be the toy shop, but then last minute I was like, I don't feel like it. And instead I turned it into a plant shop. But as you can see, I basically just put a bunch of shelves and then just spammed a bunch of plants on top of that, and that was the plant shop. And with that, not only is the shop done, but the entire mall as well. Now, do you remember the aforementioned plot twist? Well, we've arrived at the plot twist. So, okay, a little bit of explanation coming in here, but this is the save file where I want to make it compatible with everybody's game and any combination of packs, right? And so one thing that I relied on up until now is the system where if you load into a lot that is a lot type from a pack that you don't own, what usually happens is that the lot gets reset to what it is by default when you first open a new save. And I wanted to use that, you know, to like have plenty of cross-pack compatibility in my save and to also place these lots from other packs, while also making it so that if you don't have the packs, you don't even notice that you're missing out and it just feels complete as well. But turns out with penthouses, that doesn't work, and instead it just gets rid or replaces all of the stuff that you don't own. So if you don't have Get to Work, but you do have City Living, and you were to open my save file, you would get a broken version of my mall. And that is not what I want for my save. And long story short, I've come to the conclusion I will not be using this for my save. At least not like that. I might still find a way to repurpose this, but I truly don't know. Either way, I'm still super happy with how this turned out. I still think this is such a cool art, and I will be uploading this to the gallery. And I said I was going to do like a whole tour at the end, so I shall send you off to future LadyLoea, who's going to do a little tour for you. I'm a little sad by this, but I'll be okay. It's okay. Okay, see you there. Besties, I'm extremely impressed right now. Well, I don't know how I'm going to edit this now, but basically, originally, in the video here, I had 2 plot twists, one after another. And the first one was that for some reason, Sims wouldn't spawn correctly on the lot here. But they do not. Like, this guy's a loiterer. Okay. Like, these are all customers. That's another loiterer. Okay. But the Sims wouldn't spawn correctly. And now there was just an update, and I came in here to record the tour, and now everything works. I even reported this bug to the forums. I kind of feel dumb now for reporting that, and I was like so nervous about it as well because I've never done anything like that. It was baby's first bug report. Okay, so that's nice. So I probably still won't put this in my save file because of the problems with it not resetting correctly if you don't have get to work. Although who knows, maybe that's fixed as well. So here's what it ended up looking like from the outside. I really like this little area out here. And then this side is kind of the ugly side, but that's okay because this is kind of the side that is facing the non-playable area, like the set dressing. But oh no, there's a sign missing here. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that as well. I noticed the fences here on the sides were missing. I think if you place a wall directly at the edge of a penthouse lot, it kind of doesn't save the stuff that's directly on the edge correctly. Yeah, like, oh. Yeah, I had a fence there as well. Yeah, it's a little weird with how it saves stuff. There might be some stuff missing if you download this, but oh well. But yeah, your Sims will spawn here at the elevator on the 2nd level actually. And then right next to it, we built a little bathroom. And then if you come in, there's, oh. Why is that so low on the ground? I don't know if that was okay, good for you. I don't know if that was intentional. I'm just gonna say it was. Definitely. And yeah, the sinks are over here. And then I made some little fake toilet stalls. And have a look at this. I also made a little accessible toilet. I actually had the space for something like that in here. Not that you need it in The Sims or anything, but like I said, I had the space for it and I thought it would make for a cute, realistic detail. And then over here is the bakery that you can actually, where somebody apparently actually wants to buy something. Okay. But yeah, I prepared a bunch of different pastries on here. Actually, Jerry's prepared them, my test sim. I wonder if you download this, if it'll actually say that it was made by Jerry as well. And then right next door, behind the palm tree, oh gosh, is the little wedding dress shop. Which I think, oh my gosh. Okay, the palm tree's a little in the way. But it's, this person's actually trying that on. But I could never remove it, it's so slay. But yeah, this is what this place ended up looking like. Over here, right next door, is the photo studio, which also doesn't have that much going on. Oh my gosh, it's so glitchy. Oh, that's a... lol, that was... that was her! Yeah, this photo wall turned out super cool, I think. With a bunch of the sillies that I already made for the save file. This of course also relates to the whole fashion theme because you can come here and take cool pictures of your outfits. And I think it's super cool how the light from the windows comes in here as well. And oh! Is the romance festival. Okay. Right next door is the people bought stuff here. Oh no. I didn't think about that. Now I can't show this off properly. Oh well, I guess you saw it earlier, but this is the furniture store. And then, oh no, somebody also bought this. I think that was the mini fridge. Moving on. Oh, by the way, all of the stores also have like their own signs with like logos in there. I think that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, over here we have just the normal, regular clothing store. And I don't think I did a very good job at showing off the outfits that I made. I mean, they're not really that interesting either, but this is what they look like. And this is what the other two look like. And yeah. And here are also the cool dressing rooms with the mirrors. And then right next door is the fancy pants clothing store. What is that? Oh, is that the roof? Yeah, oh well. And again, I made another variation of the dressing rooms. And then over here we have the plant shop, which doesn't work like this, but I'm sure if you maybe if you buy this lot and then assign these manually to be sellable, maybe that'll work then. And then over here we have the cash register. Yeah, and this is like meant to be a little info point. And if we were to go down these escalators, of course, yeah, there's a little planter box down here and a little balcony area through these doors with the little tables that were originally over there, but then I changed them out and I built a little pond here. Look at that with the sun rays. Yo, okay. And there's like little ducks on here. I think this is the pond is so cool. But here we have like little tables to sell stuff at if you want to do that. Over here is another balcony section with these seats out here. And then back here we have the kids area. So I don't think I really showed this off properly either. Let me quickly, before this guy pees his pants, cheat his needs up. Out here there's a little station where you can sell your paintings. And then the idea is that over here you have the entrance to the kids area, so I placed a little desk, and then here there's just, you know, all of the like kids stuff. They also have a door to the outside to this like playground thing here, which is quite dangerous, because if somebody climbs onto that and then falls onto here and then falls to their death, well, let's not think about that too hard. And then right next to it, we have the quote-unquote restaurant where somebody's left all of these books. Oh, that's probably from over here. Yeah, oh, whatever. And then you could come and buy the 275. Why is that one so expensive? Why is that one? What the heck did I do? Yeah, I don't know. But fun fact, this is actually all vegetarian food, because with city living you get the vegetarian trade, so I thought that would be appropriate for the city as well. And then here I have a little podium area with some seats out front, so you can have hold cool speeches over here. That is pretty much it. With that, thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Next up, I want to make like a save file progress video, I think, because I feel like I've been building the save file for so long, but I've never really like shared any of my plans, especially because I've kind of changed recently. You'll see, but so that I want to make as well. That is coming up. Until then, bye bye.